Hi, in this video we are going to talk about BGP admin distance in general on Cisco boxes, Juniper, preference, and also a little bit about RIP failure. So let's jump into the slides. So this is just an example scenario where we have the router R1 and router R2, which are connected with each other. And let's see, R2 is advertising a network 5.5.5.5 to the router R1, and it's being advertised by different protocols: OSPF, ISIS, BGP. So the question arises like, which protocol R1 is going to trust or is going to prefer, because it's receiving the same prefix from different protocols. So in order to solve such scenarios, BGP has something we call as admin distance or administrative distance. Now, some other vendors like Juniper call it as a preference, the routing protocol preferences. So what happens is like, there is on Cisco, I can take you to the website of the Cisco where we have a page where Cisco is actually talking about the admin distance. So any route which is learned from IS protocol, the admin distance is 115. From OSPF, the admin distance is 110. So the rule of admin distance says that, or the rule of distance in Cisco platform, it says like the lower value is preferred over the higher values. So any route learned from OSPF is preferred over ISIS. In case of BGP, anything learned via eBGP is preferred over iBGP, because iBGP is 200 and eBGP is um, external border gateway protocol, it will be 20. In Juniper, we have something similar. The values are different, but the concept is same. Over there, they call it as preference. The default value is like, for example, for static route is 5, OSPF and BGP is 170. So it's generally the same thing. The terms are different, the values are different, but it doesn't matter if the values are different on Juniper on Cisco, because these values are only locally significant. So the routers, same like routing protocol, the preference values or the distance value is not exchanged between the router. Like whatever is the R1 has, let's say we modify the distance value on R1, which is possible to modify. We will show it in our one of the labs right now. That admin value or distance value will not be exchanged to any other router, because these distance terms are only locally significant. So let's look into the admin distance topology over here. So this is the same topology we have been using in previous slides. Just as a brief introduction for anyone who is new over here. So we are running iBGP between router R21, 22, and 23, and we are running OSPF as an interior gateway protocol. So let's say if we have a route over here, 123.23.23. Let me go jump onto the routers right now. Let's say this is router 23, and also I have a router 21 over here. Okay. Okay. So let me jump on to show IP interface brief. So you see, I have a loopback created over here, which I call 123.23.23. So I'm just taking it in this example over here right now, and we see that show IP route. So in the routing table, we do have this entry over here. It's being learned via OSPF, because as I told you that we have BGP, iBGP, also BGP running over there. So let's go into the show IP protocol so that I can show you what we are running right now. Show IP protocols. Okay, so in the show IP protocols, we see that we have the BGP and also OSPF running. OSPF is advertising 123.20.23, and same way over here also show IP protocols. So we have BGP and we have OSPF running. You see over here we have something known as distance. So in order to check what's the distance configured on the router, which is actually a default configuration in my case. So its external BGP is 20, internal is 200, which is default for all Cisco boxes. And in case of OSPF is 110. Okay, now if I go to the show IP route, 1.23.23.23, I see that this route is being learned via OSPF, the distance is 110. The same route is also learned in the BGP routing table. Show IP BGP 1120, 123. Okay. So we see this network is also learned in BGP table as well. It is available, it is selected, but it is not being advertised because the BGP, we know that the default admin distance we saw in show IP protocol command, it is 200. So 110 versus 200. So 110 is lower. So this is selected, and that's why we see it in show IP route table. So this is the route which is installed. Another interesting thing you have seen over here is RIP failure. So we see a RIP failure over here. So RIP failure is another interesting topic which we will discuss just in next slide, but just on a very high level. So let's say if two routes are being, if one route is being learned from two different routing protocol, from OSPF and also from BGP, in case of OSPF versus BGP, OSPF is preferred. That's why BGP will show it as a RIP failure, which means that it's not being installed in the routing table. The one which is learned via OSPF is being installed. Now let's go ahead and let's do some more tweaking over here. Let's play with it more. So what I'm thinking to do is like I will go on show run section BGP. So in this section BGP, it's taking time to generate. So what I'm planning to do is like I am going to modify this admin distance. And when I'm going to modify this admin distance, um, it is going to prefer it is going to prefer BGP route over the OSPF. So I'm trying to do the reverse. Okay, you see over here that this route 123.23.23 is being learned. What's the next hop over here? 1123.1, right? So this is the next hop. Okay, and in the BGP. So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to configure terminal router BGP 200, and then the next is distance. So there is a command distance which we can use inside the BGP configuration, where we can either we can go ahead and globally change for the BGP the distance value for iBGP and eBGP, or we have another option which I prefer better, is that I am going to configure a lower admin distance. Let's say OSPF is 110, so I will take 100, and I am going to apply on the address over there, and then which is 1.1 dot I believe 23.1. Okay, match over here 0.0.0, and then ACL as well. So I haven't prepared the ACL yet, so let me go back and prepare the ACL config terminal. Okay, and the reason why I'm using ACL is that because I want to specify and I want to match only one route. I don't want it to be applicable to the entire routing table. Playing with admin distance can be crucial sometimes, so we have to be very um, we have to play safe with it. Okay, so here we go. So I have now configured the distance 100 with this neighbor, and also I'm matching some ACL over here. Okay, and let's go over here, show IP protocols. Sorry, I have to show IP protocols. Yeah, so over here what we see is that yeah, now here is interesting thing. You see, last time I have shown while running show IP protocol that the distance was external 20, internal was 200. Here we also see the same thing, but then we have one more thing. Address wildcast mask this one. So whenever it matches this neighbor, it is going to match an ACL list, and it is going to apply a distance 100. Awesome. Okay, now although we have applied, but it won't immediately change because BGP is slow routing protocol. So we have to wait for the route update to come, and we have to do some clear IP BGP session so that we can see over here. So now at this stage, what I have to do is like I have to go, I will do clear IP BGP all. Okay, let it flap. So let's do something like clear IP BGP soft and then do show IP route, right? Because I want to do the routing table check. So here we see. Yeah, so we can see over here right now the admin distance 100 is there. For this specific route where we are matching it, we have the ACL to match it, right? So we see this 100 over here. I can also do like show IP route and 123.23.23. So it shows BGP right now. Before it was showing the routing, main routing table was showing um, uh, it before it was showing OSPF, but now it's learned via BGP. Now I also want to do show IP BGP 23.23.23. Let's have a look. So over here there is another change. Right now we don't see any RIP failure because right now in case of BGP it is getting the preferred route over there. So that's missing. So this is how we change the admin distance, but this is not something which I would recommend that you guys do in production unless it's very um, like these are very tricky. Okay, so it's only play with it when it's very essential and we don't have any other way to resolve some situation. So in this video, the commands that we have used so far were show IP protocols. This command is good enough to tell which protocols are running and also what admin distance we are using on them. So if it's default, it will show over there as a default values. And as in our case, we had seen that the after applying the command of distance, we can see that which IP the distance command and what is the new distance value that we are using. We also have used this ACL and we have also applied the distance command to the router BGP 200, which can be seen over here. And obviously this needs a clear IP BGP session. So these were the commands that we have used. And the next thing important which we saw during this training in these slides were the RIP failure that we have seen earlier. So the RIP failure in our case was caused because of the admin distance. The route was run from two different routing protocols. It was learned via OSPF and a BGP, and that's the reason why initially in the show IP BGP command, it was showing as a RIP failure over there. Other scenarios where we can see the RIP failures are the route map. Maybe like if you see the RIP failure is there, so let's look if there is some route map or route filter being applied. Other options are like the next hop is unreachable. So let's say if the next hop for the destination is unreachable, then on your BGP routing protocol, you might see the RIP failure or R symbol over there. I hope you have enjoyed watching these videos. Feel free to share. If you like to learn more on these topics, please follow these links. Thank you.